Hi everyone, welcome back to Nick's Diecast. In today's video, I'll be showing you and reviewing this 1/18 scale Lincoln Continental Black Label Dealer Edition. There is actually no indication of who makes this model, both on the box that the model came in, as well as the base of the model. That's often what you see for dealer edition model cars. They usually do not put their name anywhere on the model or on the box that the models come in. And that's kind of the case for most dealer edition models in 1/18 scale. That was true for my 2019 Honda Civic model that I got in 1/18 scale back in 2021. Body model, I think, was the manufacturer of that particular model. In the case of this Lincoln, I'm not totally sure who actually the manufacturer is. The Body model website does not have this model listed on there, so I can kind of rule them out. So comment down below if you might know who made this, because I certainly don't. I got this model on eBay for around $180 in total, including shipping and tax and everything when all was said and done. And I thought that was a good price, considering that I don't think this particular model is actively being made at this point. There are still many different listings for it on various sites such as AliExpress.com, eBay, and other sites like those. And this model does come in several different colors. I went with this amazing blue that you see here, which is called Rhapsody Blue on the real car. The Lincoln Continental Black Label trim level came with a variety of different special colors, including the Rhapsody Blue that you see here. In addition to this amazing Rhapsody Blue that you see here, they also made the model in kind of a pearlescent white, kind of a darker brown, sort of a beige almost, and I believe a silver as well. All the different colors the model is sold and seem to go for a similar price. Although it seems like the blue is the most common from what I've seen, which I think is a good thing because I think the blue looks the best on this particular model. So the real-life Lincoln Continental was produced from 1940 until 2020, and there were various brief pauses in terms of the production of the car. The longest pause would be from 2002 until 2017, when Lincoln revived the Continental with the 10th gen model that you see here. And at one point during the 1960s, the Continental was Lincoln's only car that they were selling, although at that point you could get it in several different body styles, including a four-door convertible model. The 10th generation model that you see here was initially brought out as a concept car in 2015. And the concept that they showed was actually the same color scheme as the Rhapsody Blue Lincoln Continental Black Label production car that you see here. And then Lincoln did put the car in production for the 2017 model year. It would be produced until 2020. At one point, Lincoln did sell a coach door version of this particular car where you had the reverse opening rear doors and the wheelbase was extended a slight bit as well. But the more common Continentals that you'll see are the regular version that you see here. And the Black Label was actually a special kind of top-end trim. And with the Black Label, you had the availability of various kind of color packages, I guess we'll call them. So for the Rhapsody in Blue version, which is what you see here, you got the Rhapsody Blue paint job, special wheels that you see here, kind of that blade style of spokes, and a blue interior as well. And there were some other features and different color accents and whatnot that were kind of unique to each of the Black Label color schemes that you could pick from. As far as other models of the most recent Lincoln Continental go, this is the only one that I can think of that you can get. No one really made any budget versions of this particular car, and I think that's kind of understandable because it wasn't produced for very long in real life, and I think that kind of adds to the exclusivity of it, the fact that you can only get this higher end dealer edition model of it. So I think as far as details and features and everything go, I think the manufacturer did an incredible job in terms of just the overall details of the model. These dealer edition models in 1/18 scale, I think, are perfect alternatives to the many different resin models that are out there, which go for oftentimes over $300. But in the case of this Continental, you can find it for under $200, which is fantastic. And the fact that you can open it all up too is just fantastic. A lot of times for similar dealer edition models or just upper end models in general, I think resin models are kind of becoming more of the norm rather than opening, heavy die-cast models. But this one is a fully opening heavy die-cast model, and I think it overall is really well done. So we're going to go ahead and kind of take a closer look at the details of the model here. We'll begin up here with the front. The manufacturer, I think, did a great job with the overall look and shape of the Continental here. The real car was based on the Ford Fusion chassis, I believe, but of course, pretty much all the visual features of the Continental were different from the Fusion, aside from the fact that they had the same like wheelbase and whatnot. In the front, you'll see the manufacturer did a great job with the headlights. The LEDs look fantastic, and the overall look and shape of the lights are extremely well done. And they do actually fit nice and flush with the body as well. There is kind of a very slight gap on top here, but I'm actually okay with that because then it just makes the hood kind of easier to lift, I should say. You will see in the center here, you have a full metal grille, which looks fantastic. And these are perforations, which is amazing to see. The chrome work does look fantastic, and you actually do have a separately cast large Lincoln badge in the middle of that grille, which looks very well done. And the lower grills on the front end are also quite well done. These actually aren't perforated on the right and the left sides underneath the headlights, but at least they do look good, and they are the right shape when you kind of compare them to the real car. You do have the Continental license plate up in the front here. The paint job, I would say, is fantastic, and they really do nail the look of the Rhapsody Blue paint color that you would see on the real vehicle. It's not like a metallic finish or anything. It's just kind of a gloss finish, and it's just a very deep, beautiful shade of blue. I would say it's kind of on the border between navy blue and a slightly lighter shade of blue. It's kind of hard to describe, I guess, but you can see in kind of the darker light and the shadow, it really does have that kind of navy blue look to it. Then on the portions of the car where the light shines on it, you can see kind of the true shade of blue that the paint job is. It looks fantastic. So the manufacturer definitely did an incredible job as far as the paint job on the model is concerned, for sure. Take a look next to the side of the model. The manufacturer did a fantastic job with these wheels. They are made out of real metal, and these are the accurate kind of blade style of wheel that you would see on the real Lincoln Continental Black Label Series models. Whether you got the Rhapsody Blue Continental Black Label or the other 2 or 3 special color packages for that trim, they all came with this particular rim style, and it looks fantastic. And of course, you do have the spinning brake disc that does move through the caliper, which is a very nice touch. This model does have full steering, but no suspension, which is okay to me because it is a very heavy model. So if this did have suspension, it really wouldn't be working that well because the model is so heavy. All the chrome work that you see, it looks fantastic as well. And then you do have this kind of Continental blade on the upper portion of the front doors, which looks fantastic. That is a feature that you would see on the real car as well. And the Continental inscription looks very well done as well. The side mirrors look great, and they are folding side mirrors as well, which is a nice bonus. You do actually fold the mirrors back in when you put the model back in the box as well. You do have a full moonroof or a full sunroof, whichever one it's actually called, up here, which looks very nice on the car. It's extremely dark, almost to the point where it looks like it's actually a gloss black, but it is actually just very dark tint. You can kind of see that passenger door panel just a slight bit right there where my finger's attempting to point to. Just be careful when cleaning up the roof. You want to use a soft cloth so you don't put any scratches on there. They also did a great job with the door handles and the door trim as well. A unique feature of the most recent Lincoln Continental is that the door handles were kind of built into the chrome work, and then you would just grab the handle and then it would open for you. I think there was maybe a small button kind of hidden behind the chrome there. As far as the rear of the model goes, the excellent detail does continue with the taillight housing that you see here. They did a fantastic job, I think, with the overall look and shape of the taillight housing, or taillight piece, I guess we'll call it. And you do have the clear colored lights kind of in the center of the taillights. No pegs to be seen on any of the lights on the model, which is fantastic to see. And then you also have kind of that chrome lip underneath the trunk lid there and above the license plate frame. This Lincoln inscription that you see here, they're all done in separately cast letters, which looks great. And then you also have the Continental 3.0T all-wheel drive inscriptions back here as well, because the Continental actually did come with an all-wheel drive powertrain as an option, which I didn't really know about until I did more research on the car. So I think that's cool. The exhaust pipes look good as well. They're kind of trimmed in chrome, and they are hollowed out. They're not just, cheap looking chrome pieces like you see on a lot of 1/18 scale model cars. So the manufacturer did do a good job of replicating those as well. And you do actually have these lower lights on the bumper here, and they are done in separately cast plastic red pieces, which look very well done. Now, in terms of the opening features of the model, there are many. You do have all 4 opening doors and the opening trunk and the opening hood as well. And they do actually give you a door opener tool that you see here, and that I did show off in the unboxing video of the model. It does have the Lincoln badge on it, which looks very cool. And in addition to that, the model also comes with this really cool looking Lincoln cloth. It's a microfiber cloth that you can use to clean the model, and it kind of serves as a car cover as well, like that. There's the Lincoln inscription kind of on the side there, and that's just really cool that they gave you that. And also the model does come with this beautiful wood base with the metal nameplate on it. So at the end of the video, I will put this on the base so you can kind of see how it looks. And I did kind of show more of this in the unboxing video of the model. But I just wanted to kind of point that out again, that in addition to the model, you do have these other, I guess, items that come with it. So back to the opening features of the model. Of course, you do have the opening rear trunk. You just pull it up like that. And it is fully carpeted in there, which is very cool to see. And the trunk also goes all the way back to where the back of the rear seat would be. This car does have a very large trunk in it. There really is not a whole lot to see aside from the felt carpeting, but they do cover the underside of the trunk lid with the plastic that you would kind of see on the real car. And the reservoir, or the lip kind of around where the trunk lid meets the body, is fully painted. And then you do have kind of this plastic portion here with the latch on it that you would, of course, see on the real vehicle. The trunk does open up on dog legs, but I don't really mind that because they're kind of hidden, like when you look at it from that angle. That's pretty much it for the trunk back here. But I think it's well done in terms of overall details. Of course, you also have the opening hood on the model as well. And for this, I do use the door opener tool, even though there is kind of a decent enough gap between the headlight and the kind of front corner of the hood. So we're going to open it up like so. We'll do it from this side here. There we go. The engine detail, I would say, is very well done. This would be pretty much all the different features and colors and everything that you would see on the engine of the real car. You can actually see all the way down to the bottom, which is very cool. This is a V6 engine, and I think the overall look of it on the model is very well done. You can see there's several different labels and everything, like for the warnings and whatnot. And the Lincoln badge is actually raised up on the main block there, which is great to see. And then, of course, you have all the different fluids and kind of the reservoirs in here. And you can see some wiring kind of down below that portion as well. And then, of course, you have all the different labels for the various fluid caps in here as well. So they did a good job in here, I would say, for sure. Would have been nice to have maybe like a prop rod for when the hood, stops holding itself up at some point. But I probably won't be opening up the hood very much, so I don't really mind that. But I know a lot of people do like to have the prop rods for the hoods of their models. And also the hood does open up on dog legs as opposed to the hydraulic hinges that you would probably see on the real car. But again, I don't really think that's a big deal because the hinges on here are actually fairly small and thin as well. And they do seem to be quite strong from what I've seen so far. I've only opened up the hood like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times so far, but it does seem like the fixture is quite strong on the model. And for this next portion of the video, I figured I would put the model on its wood base just to show you how it looks on there. And of course, it looks beautiful. So in terms of other opening features on the model, of course, you do have all 4 opening doors as well. And you have to be kind of careful with opening these doors because the hinges are spring loaded. So just be careful. You have to kind of be slow and gentle when you open up the doors. There's those 2 doors, and then we'll open up the other 2 doors on here. And you will notice that the rear windows are a darker tint than the front windows. That is proper to the real Continental. So that's cool that Plotty or whoever actually made this model included that feature on there. Now, as far as the interior detail goes, the manufacturer did an incredible job, which is kind of what you would expect to see from a model of this price point. Taking a look at the seats, there are 2 different textures of leather on the real car. And the manufacturer, I think, does capture that quite well on the model here. Of course, the seats on the model are made of plastic as opposed to, actual leather, but the textures that you see are what you would see on the real car as well. You have kind of a different texture for the inserts. I don't know what the exact material is called, but you have the kind of smooth leather for the perimeters of the seats as well as the headrests, which do have the Lincoln logo embossed on them. And I do like how they capture the different stitch patterns as well. You can see, especially in this center portion of the driver's seat, how they do capture the stitch pattern that you would see on the real car. It might be overdone just a slight bit as far as the model goes, but I think what they do include there on the seats really does look fantastic. And of course, on the real car, these seats move in every which way in terms of like the lumbar support, the headrests, and like just the overall adjustable nature of them. So that's why you do see kind of this unique shape from the side profiles here, because this portion moves, that portion moves, the top portion moves, and the headrests all move kind of separately from one another in order to ensure, I guess, the most comfort in your luxury sedan, which is really cool to us see. The manufacturer does capture the overall look and shape of these seats quite well. Same goes for this rear bench seat as well. You can see that the two different textures are present back here as well as you would also see on the real car. And of course, you do have the felt seat belts with the metal buckles, which is a fantastic feature. And you also have the seat belts for the front seats as well. They just did an overall amazing job with these seats. As far as the detail goes on the dashboard and the center stack, the manufacturer did a great job with those as well. You can see you have kind of a nice two-tone blue and silver look to the dashboard and the center stack and the center console, because on the real Continental Rhapsody in Blue Special Edition, you would have the brushed aluminum components of the interior paired up with the blue leather that you see throughout the dashboard and the seats and the door panels as well. And I think did a fantastic job of capturing that in the model here. You will see a few buttons on either side of this large screen and underneath the screen as well, and they are all the proper shape and size to what you would see on the real car. There aren't really any labels for the buttons alongside the screen. I would have liked to see kind of that additional layer of detail in that sense, but the buttons underneath the screen are labeled and they do look very well done. Speaking of buttons, they also did a fantastic job with the steering wheel. The overall look and shape looks like it is spot on. And of course, you do have the nice Lincoln badge in the center of the steering wheel as well. And all the different buttons and controls are separately painted and are present in general on the steering wheel too, which is very nice to us see. And they also do a good job capturing the look of the different vents that you see throughout the dashboard, which is a nice touch. And you do, of course, get felt carpeting throughout the interior of the model, and it is blue to match the rest of the interior components, and that is accurate to what you would see on the real Lincoln Continental Rhapsody in Blue edition. And the fine detailing of the model does continue with the door panels, as you can see right here. On this driver's side door, you can see that they did a great job kind of molding in all the different window and mirror controls with this section of buttons right here. It almost looks like you can actually control or push these different buttons, because that's how finely detailed that they are. And in addition to that, all the different seat controls are nicely molded in up here. Would have been nice to see a few little like icons on here, because the real Continental does have some icons in terms of like what the actual buttons do, I guess we should say. But on the model, you don't see that, but they do actually capture the look and shape of them quite well, I would say, for sure. This right here, if this were the real car, would be a speaker, and you can actually see the tiny little kind of speaker hole texture pattern on this component here. It's very hard to see with the camera here, but they do actually capture that look that you would see for the real speaker, which is very cool to us see. And this lower silver portion down here would be a speaker on the real car as well. In addition to that, they also did a good job with the two different door handles on the interior door panel here. And in place of handles, you actually do have an electronic button, which is located right here, to open the door on the real car. And Potty, or whoever made this, did do a good job of kind of molding that in place there as well. They even go as far as molding in the manual door release, which is kind of hidden away in the storage pocket here. So all the attention to detail, I would say, is really awesome to see on the model for sure. And I did forget to mention that you do have a center stack for the rear passengers as well. And the manufacturer did replicate that nicely as well. You can see that you have those two vents in the middle there, and some buttons that surround the two vents. They did a good job with that aspect of the interior as well. And you can get a slightly better look at the felt carpeting back here since the light is kind of coming in through this passenger side. But all the different fine details and features on this model are just amazing to see. They could have, I think, done a little bit better in some areas, like with, the style of hinges that they use for the trunk and the hood, and some more fine detailing on those door panels for sure. They really did do an excellent job of capturing all the beautiful detail that you would see on the real Lincoln Continental. So we'll go ahead and close up all these doors here. And I actually use the door opener tool to do that as well, because I don't like to have these just snap back in place. I don't want to, like wear them out or break them or anything. So, and they're a bit tricky. You have to kind of push them a slight bit. So you just kind of have to insert it through the door handle and then push like that. It's just a beautiful model. And the wood base, again, just really like sets it off. And you could even have it like up on the shelf like this, have the doors open. As far as the undercarriage detail of the model goes, you can see here that the manufacturer did do a good job of capturing all the different details that you would see underneath the real car. And it is worth mentioning that the entire base of this car is made out of real metal, so that kind of contributes to the overall weight of the model. And you can see all the different exhaust and steering system components down here as well, in several different colors of plastic. You can see some chrome, some silver, and some black plastic as well. It does say Lincoln Continental down here, made in China, and there's a quality control sticker right there as well. But no manufacturer name, as I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video here. And then back here, you can see some different components as well. I believe all these elements are what you would see for the all-wheel drive powertrain, which is what this is modeled after. But yeah, I think as far as the undercarriage of the model goes, the manufacturer did do a great job with it. So this model is definitely an expensive model. It will cost you upwards of $150 to $200, depending on where you end up getting it from. I probably wouldn't pay much more than like the lower 200s for it. I'm not sure where values of this model will go in the coming years, because I'm pretty sure it's no longer actively being made, especially now since the real car is no longer being made. But I think as time goes on, prices definitely will go up for this model. And I guess it will kind of vary based off the color of the model and where you're actually looking to buy the model from. But in general, I think that this is a fantastic model for the price that you can get it at. And yeah, I think some more fine detailing would have been welcome in some areas, like for example, the seat controls on the door panel, as well as the buttons on either side of the center screen, as you saw. But as a whole, the model is beautiful, and it really does capture the beautiful nature of the real car as well. And I'm definitely glad that I added it to my 1/18 scale car collection for sure. So whether you're a fan of Lincoln or of luxury cars in general, I think this model would definitely be a good model to get for your own collection of 1/18 scale cars as well. So feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on this Lincoln Continental model here. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.